On one of my recent live streams, I got the question, what are the benefits of upgrading to .NET MAUI over Xamarin and Xamarin Forms? So I took a few minutes to break down every little bit about the past, present, and the future with Xamarin, .NET 6, and .NET MAUI going forward. So take a look. It's a little bit different. Okay, so there's a few parts, and someone can maybe I'll make this a little bite later. All right, so let's think about this. So Xamarin was a few things. One, it was a company that got acquired by Microsoft, but Xamarin has some core pieces of technology that brought iOS and Android and macOS to be able to use .NET on those devices inside of apps and write those apps in C# or F# or basically .NET languages. Now, what that meant in the beginning with Xamarin is that you would build your native UIs with like iOS storyboards or Android XML or macOS storyboards or zip files as they used to be, or code. And then what you would do is you would create like a shared library, and that could be like a .NET Standard library, for example, or just a shared code base with all of your models, view models, services, code in it. That would be shared. So I'm making a web request, pulling down data, pulling that all down inside of it. Boom, you're good to go. And what was nice about this is that you could share that code with other apps. So if you have a Windows application or you had a web application built with C# and .NET, boom, you're good to go to automatically do that. Now, with Xamarin Forms, that was a layer on top of Xamarin iOS and Xamarin Android and Xamarin Mac and Windows. And what it did is it created an abstraction on top of those code bases for the user interface. So Xamarin Forms brought in that core piece of functionality that enabled you to write cross-platform apps with cross-platform UI. So with Xamarin and .NET, you could write cross-platform apps, but it was separate UI. This is a way to share shared UI across all the different platforms. So a lot of times Xamarin and Xamarin Forms gets gets mixed up, right? In it, but really that's the two things: is there's the base level, and then there's Xamarin Forms. So two things are happening. One, Xamarin iOS, Xamarin Android, Xamarin Mac are just turning into iOS for .NET, Android for .NET, Mac for .NET. And they have the base level requirements. So anything that you could do before, you can still do, but with .NET 6, how it's being built up. And that's cool because it uses the same project systems, packaging systems, command line tools, hot reload will work everywhere. So with .NET 6, all of that mobile goodness that Xamarin brought into the .NET world is using the same exact bits and pieces and functionality. So it has a lot of advantages. Now, on top of that, like as things were happening, Xamarin Essentials came out, and that's another library that basically did what Xamarin Forms did, but for our platform APIs. So something like Xamarin iOS and Android, you could access those native APIs in C#, which was cool. Whereas something like React Native or Flutter, you have to go write Swift or Kotlin code or Java code for those platforms when you want to go access them, unless someone writes a plugin or something like that. But somebody has to write the code somewhere. So the cool part about Xamarin was that you had all the APIs in C#. So what Xamarin Essentials is it created this abstraction of platform API. So connectivity, sensors, geolocation into one API. So .NET 6 is going to unify the runtimes. And then what's happening here is Xamarin Forms itself, mostly really targeted mobile, really for phone and for iOS and Android. It did have Windows support, and it had a preview of macOS support, which I ship products with Xamarin Forms on desktop. But with .NET MAUI, a few things are happening. First and foremost is that it's going to be using the .NET 6 unified tooling and runtime and all that stuff. And then it's going to be sort of re-architected from the ground up. So that's why I went through the handlers and the new architecture And that stuff basically removes all the cruft of the past, as Xamarin Forms is now 6 years old. And .NET MAUI is sort of a complete refresh, built for speed and optimization and performance out of the box, with all the latest and modern bits and pieces. And then what it does is it adds in that new architecture. So it's easier to extend, it's easier to write new controls, it's easier to bring new pieces of functionality in. And what it's doing is it is streamlining development for developers, if you will. So for example, if I toggle over here, you noticed that I have just one project for iOS, Android, and macOS. So first class support for mobile and desktop. And here's a WinUI project for Windows. But I have Android, iOS in here, and I can actually toggle between iOS, Android, and my different devices and simulators. And for iOS and Android and Windows and Mac, you can use all of the hot reload and XAML hot reload. So you can just start writing code, debugging it locally or on your device from a Windows or a Mac machine with Visual Studio 2022. Get everything there. But also it adds in all sorts of cross-platform things like images, splash screens, fonts. I mean, actually, if you look at this code, what's set up here is 100% cross-platform. All of my images, which this is going to be my app icon, splash screen, all my images, all my fonts, SVGs, PNGs, doesn't matter. It handles everything for me. And I can still get into the platform specific code, which is cool. All of it's open source, 100%. And it brings in .NET MAUI Essentials, which is the evolution of Xamarin Essentials. So it's all in the box. You get access to all that stuff that's there. And because it's re-architected from the ground up, these controls, it also means that the team's working super hard on app size and app performance to get like sub 1 second startup times for your apps. So they're super duper fast with ahead of time compilation. So to me, what's nice about it is you get all of this great benefit of the years of experience of the Xamarin and Xamarin Forms team and the Essentials team all comes forward. The community toolkits come forward. And additionally, all of your code comes forward. So if you're building a Xamarin Forms app, you can easily port it over to .NET MAUI. There's going to be a command line tool that brings it over. There's a back compatibility story there too, so you can add sort of shim back compat layers into it. And your apps will continue to work, but use the latest and greatest code and architecture to make it even faster and more performant there. And of course, you get to use the world's my favorite and best IDE, Visual Studio, to build all your apps, or command line or code editors or things like that. It will all work because it's built with the same tooling. So you can go to a command line and say .NET run, and it'll run on an Android emulator or iOS device, for example. So you get all of that. And on top of that, for example, you will also get integration with Blazor, which is how to build interactive web UIs with C#, 100% C#. So what's cool is that .NET MAUI Blazor as a Blazor web view that you can bring in Blazor code, so your Razor code from your Blazor web apps, into a .NET MAUI application. So if you're a web developer, you can now build native applications with .NET MAUI and Blazor together. And what's great is that Blazor code is running super fast because .NET MAUI applications ship with the .NET runtime. So there's no WebAssembly, there's no server, there's no anything like that. Everything is rendered locally. You can stylize it to be platform independent or platform there. So it's all there. It's all 100% there. And you can use, like I said, Visual Studio 2022 on Windows, Visual Studio 2022 on Mac, or you can use command line and you can use code editors however you want. Yeah. And of course, like I said, the community toolkit is also a great community open source repo that has all sorts of great controls and helpers and extensions for Xamarin Forms and now .NET MAUI, and it's unifying with the Windows Community Toolkit too, which is super awesome. There are going to be some performance analysis coming out in the future, so definitely keep track of the blog. And yeah, go to town there. I think this has actually been a really good video. I'm going to snip this and I'm going to put it onto my YouTube too from this video, which is cool. Let's see. Blah, 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 blah. Do I understand it correct that that another difference is that how Microsoft itself designing and maintaining it? I mean, Xamarin was acquired by Microsoft, the company itself, and all the products, and it's part of .NET. I would say that more things are unified more than ever with .NET 6. So there's like a big product roadmap and things that are worked on across the board. You can go to this website, themes of .NET. I'll put it over here. There you go. There you go. Yeah. All right, there you have it. I hope that you enjoyed this kind of highlight from my Twitch stream. You can find me nearly every single week, usually on Fridays over at twitch.tv/James Montemagno. Hope that you enjoy this highlight. If you did like them, let me know in the comments below if you want to see sort of more clips from my live streams and some of my live coding so that you don't have to watch the entire video. Go ahead and leave comments below. And if you did like this video, smash that like button and hit that subscribe button over there and ding that notification bell. Would super like it. That like goes into that YouTube algorithm of goodness. Super recommend it. Anyways, thanks for watching. Have a good one.